found to be lies, and all the joy within you dies. Don't you want somebody to love? Don't you need somebody to love? Wouldn't you love somebody to love? You better find somebody to love. What's up, everybody? Welcome to PCP Movie Night. I'm your host for tonight's festivities, Rockin' Robbie Bills, and we're talking about a damned classic tonight, 2009's Academy Award nominee for Best Picture, A Serious Man by the Coen Brothers. You know, a couple of years ago, or last year actually, we talked about Inside Llewyn Davis. I said this was one of the most underappreciated, underdiscussed, underrated Coen Brothers films out there. But then I thought of another one in the same category, A Serious Man. I love this movie. I love these filmmakers, and I love what we're doing here tonight. We're doing an old school night. That's right, family only. And so joining us for this discussion of A Serious Man, it will be a serious discussion, by the way, on A Serious Man. We got Jelani. What is up, my man?
Station, brother, station. Man, I'm doing good. And I thought I hadn't watched this movie, and I remembered I did. And there were reasons I forgot all about it. But we'll talk about that. I mean, things have changed, but I'm glad to be here to talk about it.
Yeah. Speaking of forgetting about Dre and things have changed, it's Brooks. What is up, my man? How you doing?
I never forgot about Dre.
Don't know.
Slander.
Dre.
All right. So the very first live movie review we ever did was Spawn. And it was the three of us. And before that, we used to do them in-house, in studio. And it would be the three of us. So here we go, y'all. We're going old school tonight. A Serious Man, 2009, a Coen Brothers production with an old school crew of me, good old Jab, and the magnificent one himself, Brooks. I love this movie. I loved it back then. It was part of the Oscar talk, but not only that, this is the film that the Coen Brothers made after No Country for Old Men. So they had finally gotten their due and won Best Picture, won Best Director, all that jazz, right? The year before. I think, right? Or maybe it was a couple years before, but this was the movie after. I think they won for 2007. 2008 was Slumdog Millionaire. I could be misremembering, but this was up against a whole bunch of great pictures that I thought could have won Best Picture. I thought Avatar was going to win. I'm glad it didn't. Hurt Locker won that year. I'm a big fan of that movie. Up in the Air, I was a big fan of, as well as this one. But I think this movie is incredibly funny. I think it's painfully tragic. I think it seems obscure, especially when you first watch it, but it reveals a lot of thematic depth, right? I find it to be mesmerizing and profound. And one of my favorite things about the Coen Brothers movies throughout their career, and this one in particular, because let's be honest, this is a movie whose meaning is the search for meaning in things, right? So I think this movie is rather profound, and I love that the Coen Brothers never take the audience for granted. They do not insult our intelligence. They do not overstay their welcome. Sometimes they end films like that. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes that's reality. I am a huge fan of this film. I've been dying to talk about this film. And here we are, and we're doing it. So, Jelani, you've seen this one before. And I don't think it's quite your kind of movie on first watch, but we'll see where this discussion goes. What did you think about A Serious Man overall? You out there in the chat, by the way, we see you beautiful souls join in the conversation. Please, Jelani.
Yeah. Well, thanks guys for watching. We really appreciate you. Thanks everybody. This movie I remember not liking the first time I saw it. First time I saw this movie, I was mad because I probably wasn't picking up all the nuances and all the crazy proverbs and all the things that were happening with it. But on my second watch, I kind of enjoyed it. It's a little different. It was surprising to me that, like, you know, because I guess I have more life experience under my belt from 2009 to now to see that, like, shit's going to hit the fan no matter what. And it's always a series of unfortunate events that lead you to something. And you try to find meaning in it, and there isn't any, for real. That's what this movie tells me a lot. I mean, there are a lot of themes in this film, that being one of them, just to throw it out there. It's just absolutely nothing. It's life. It's how life can kick your ass at any point. This guy goes through a lot. Like I would have been as patient as he was going through the things he went through. Like his wife's leaving him for a guy, and his kids are terrible, and he's got a student that's trying to bribe him. He's got just so many just ignorant, stupid things happening. Columbia Records calls him freaking.
For anybody out there who may not be aware of this film that's watching right now, right? It's about a middle-aged Jewish physics professor in the Midwest in 1967, I believe, right? And everything in his life falls apart. And he spends the entire movie kind of questioning why. The movie doesn't really give us a reason or anything like that. Like I think there's a lot of nuance there, but yeah, just in case anybody doesn't know what the movie is, but you're right. It's almost like a book of Job, right, Jelani?
Yeah, it is. And the thing is, it's you can have those things happen, but without works. When it really started to turn for him is towards the end of that film, where he changes the grade in the film of the student that's trying to bribe him because he needs that money. That money has to be paid somehow. And it's just so many just horrible things that have happened to him to this point where he believes that, being corrupt is the answer. And it's a wild film. It really, I hated it when I first saw it because it just ends so abruptly. It made no sense. I don't know if I wasn't paying attention, but the reason I remembered this movie was because of the three rabbis. I was like, oh yeah, I've seen this. This is the guys. And he was like, you got to talk to Marshak. You just have to talk to Marshak. And then Marshak never speaks to him. There's no meaning of life.
The rabbi is busy.
He's thinking. He's busy. He's thinking. And that's because he probably was listening to Just an Airplane. Don't you want somebody to love? It's wild. This movie it's Coen Brothers. It's pure and simple Coen Brothers. I mean, some of their things have no meaning. They haven't. They just happen. No Country for Old Men is a huge example of that. It just ends abruptly too.
Yep.
And this film,
the main character gets killed off screen, right? Shit like that. Yeah.
Yeah. You just never.
Do you know how Warren Ellis likes to end his stories? Like, think of every Planetary issue, and it builds up, and then it just ends in that last page. That's what the Coen Brothers do. 100%.
Often. Yeah. And like I said, it's now that I've seen a lot of Coen Brothers films, I've realized that this is their style. This is how they work. 2009, I didn't get it because I was still doing the whole "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou" thing. That is gorgeous. That is my favorite Coen Brothers movie. Fargo being second. It's just it got so many, and they're always perplexing. Except for "Oh Brother," which has a happy ending because it's Odysseus.
Yeah,
but
even that, right? Like the idea that that's based on the Odyssey.
The Odyssey,
and then you got last year we talked about Inside Llewyn Davis, and that's got references to Ulysses, and all that kind of stuff. So they're pretty I think they're such brilliant filmmakers, and this is the kind of movie that they only get to make after winning an Oscar for Best Picture.
Right. It must be pretentious and on the nose.
Yes.
At the same time.
Yeah. Any other Hollywood studio, they're like, you don't have a narrative structure here. You're not setting things up and paying it off. Like, what the fuck are you doing here with this movie? But it's part of what the movie is. So I'm glad that you seem to appreciate it a little bit more in 2024. But Brooks, this is your first time watching it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, lay it on us. What'd you think about A Serious Man?
This movie is a real head scratcher for me, man. I watched this movie and I just honestly did not know what I thought about it. It was man, maybe I should watch it again, but I just couldn't bring myself to watch it again because it's a bit of a downer. But it is a movie that I would consider rewatching just to see maybe I could, get a little more nuance out of it. But, it's like, there's a certain lifestyle that was expected of most people. Like, this is how, like, we were all expected to be as adults, is like, we were supposed to be this guy, have like the job, the wife and all that. But like, it just about like, there's all, and this is like, just one in a series of movies that basically kind of like burst the bubble on the whole domestic bliss myth. And it's interesting. And like, I really like, there's a lot of things I like about it, but at the same time, like, it's like, I don't know, something about it just upsets me deeply.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too,
I
though.
think a lot of it's the religious stuff, like, because I remember, like as a young child or as a kid, like, I did have a church community that is very kind of similar in a way to this one, with the idiotic ceremonies and the pomp and circumstance stuff. And
they're all telling this kid how beautiful his bar mitzvah was. This dude's high as fuck, has no
I love
idea
that
what
he
he's
got
fucking
fucking
doing.
high for his bar mitzvah.
Like, I'm supposed to sing the song and memorize it. I don't know.
I wish I'd
any
have gotten
words.
high like during my baptism. It probably would have turned out differently.
Dude, no shit. I would love to get rebaptized just so I could be high during it. It's fucking crazy.
You see the dove? I see the dove. I see the dove, dude.
But that's a thing that a lot of us experience, right? The idea of like being part of a religious spiritual community, part of a church or a synagogue or something growing up, right? And like being the rebellious teenagers we were in the 90s and being a little bit more discerning than some of our peers, we start seeing some of the cracks in there. I mean, I was training to be a preacher. Like, yeah, I was like up in there. You know what I'm saying? I'm learning Hebrew. I'm learning Greek. I'm trying to read the original forms of the Bible and all this kind of stuff, right? Like, but you start seeing the cracks and things, man, especially when, man, let's not toot our own horns, but we're very discerning, right? Our cyborg reviews get like 500,000 views. We got to know what we're doing. And you're not on that one, Julian. Well, me and Brooks know what we're talking about. So
I graduated from college.
Yes, with a liberal arts degree. Let's talk about this cast, though. One thing that the Coen brothers do, and sometimes they get criticized for it, right? They get criticized for being like very looking down upon humanity, right? Like elitist or something like that. But I don't think so, because they know these people. They know this community. This is a very personal film for them. It's actually based on some of their experiences growing up in the Midwest. Their parents were both academics, right? They had to go and see a rabbi that they had only heard about in mysterious versions of who he is. And then at their bar mitzvah, they got to go and talk to this fucking old guy that's just like this mysterious legendary figure in the back of the synagogue, right? So it's one of the most personal films from the Coen brothers. And I think that actually ties into the theme. I cannot wait till we get to the theme of this one. But there's some really great characters. And one thing that they always do well in all of their movies are having these characters that are caricatures, but at the same time, they all have some nuance to them. Jelani, kick us off. What's a performance / character you want to highlight from this film?
There are like so many. That's the crazy part for this film. I'm taking two. Sorry.
There's only 3 of us. I think that's allowed.
I think we're good. I'm going to pick the Dybbuk. The proverb at the very beginning of the story.
Yes.
Freaking Flavish Finkel. Flavish Finkel was in Picket Fences back in the day, like the old CBS TV show. That's like old as all crap.
I wish I had balloons to launch right now, bro. I think that's the first Picket Fences reference we've ever had on Pop Culture Philosophers in like 9 years of existence.
Ever. And I love that. I love that show, man.
What's his name? Tom Skerritt?
Tom Skerritt was the sheriff.
Yeah, dude.
He was in charge of the small town.
The dude that Jim Carrey's trying to marry and Dumb and Dumber's in it, or the chick, right? Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I think he married her. He did marry her. I can't remember her name right now. But yeah, Flavish Finkel. I remember him very well. He was the Dybbuk, and he gets stabbed by the woman. And he's like, I don't know, I can't remember what he said, but like, and on top of that, other than him saying what he said, he gets up and walks into the night, and you don't technically know if he's dead or alive. And they, just like the rest of the movie, it's never resolved. And you're just like,
there's an interpretation of that prologue that it's one of Larry's ancestors, and now the family's cursed, right?
So
and this is the whole point. Yeah, but I think it's different than that. I don't think it's that literal.
Yeah,
the Coen brothers themselves say they felt like it was appropriate to start the movie with a Yiddish tale, but they didn't know any, so they made one up. And they came up with this.
That's a good one. Whatever it was, leave it to the Coen brothers to make up a Yiddish proverb. But it's funny as crap. And the next person I wanted to get is, of course, Marshak. I'm taking Marshak. He's by far, to me, the best character in this film because he don't take shit from nobody. Not only doesn't I take shit from anybody, he's the wisest person. When the truth is found to be lies, and all the hope within you dies. The fact he tells this little kid this, he's not wrong, but it's all because he's been corrupted by the radio he's had in his ear, probably for a week.
Yeah, I mean, the rabbi didn't come up with that, bro. Jefferson Airplane came up with that.
They did. That's what I'm saying. He mentions the entire.
He changed joy to hope.
He changed. Yeah,
he did.
He did.
Transformative.
Yep, it's very nice. We did. It's not. There's no YouTube strikes in that. So, but it's good. The fact that his character is such an enigmatic figure, and is able to pull something from a younger child, from a younger kid, to give him a lesson on just being a good boy. Just be a good boy.
Be a good boy.
All you need. That's it. Of course, he wasn't, because he still listened to the radio in class. I think that's why the tornado came. That and the grade was changed.
See? Well, we'll see. We'll get to that. Maybe we'll get to that. I mean, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. This is one of those movies that you could do like an hour-long dissertation of, to dissect it in so many different views. There's a pro-religious view to it. Mm-hmm. There's also an anti-religious view to it. Mm-hmm. So it's like, it's such a good film because of its ambiguity. It
takes you there,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Brooks, what about you? What's some performances you want to highlight? You can have two, bro. I think we're good. Yeah. I think we can all have two tonight.
Yay.
It's like actually since I was planning there to be more people, I figured there'd be more people. I had kind of in the chamber, and I guess I'll go ahead and just throw both of them out. They're both kind of like just minor background annoyance characters, but the first one is the kid's best friend who says "fuck" all the fucking time.
Yes.
Yeah.
We all knew that, dude.
He's so fucking annoying. It's like, God, dude, you're so annoying because you just say it for no fucking reason. You sound like an idiot. But I also remember being that kid sometimes. As well as
we didn't know how to cuss yet, right?
Yeah.
So we're just
say fuck in front of everything.
Yeah.
And the other one is the sister who's just she just shows up to nag and just be an annoying pest.
Go to the hole. Yeah.
So yeah, can I go to the hole? Like what? Like this, she's just there to be just another little thing picking at the main character.
Yeah.
Just another little cut on him.
Yeah, absolutely. The name changes. Nothing's up with the Sunday night live stream. I just took 2 weeks off. We'll be back this upcoming Sunday. I wrote 5 down because originally there were supposed to be 5 of us here tonight. Eric got sick. Steph forgot, but it's okay.
Wow, Steph. Thanks.
We're doing it old school tonight. So man, I can list my top 5 characters in this film. Number 5, Rabbi Scott, played by Simon Helberg from Big Bang Theory. Big Bang Theory sucks, but I love his dumbass shit. Look at the parking lot, Larry. It's so fucking stupid, man.
He's optimistic. He's young.
Rabbi Knockner, played by George Kiefer, I believe, or something like that, right? The guy who tells him the story about the goy's teeth.
About the goy's teeth.
And it's just, and he's just like, what, he wants me to tell him? Now he doesn't want me to tell him. He's just it's so fucking funny. And I swear to God, I thought it was the dad from Arrested Development, man, for a moment there.
Oh, yeah.
Number 3, Cy, played by Fred Mellered. Cy is perfect in this movie. The way he's slowly delivering his dialogue. Larry. Meanwhile, this motherfucker's writing letters to the
Screwing
fucking.
him
Yes,
all
I love
day.
it. I love it. Number 2, Arthur, Richard Kind, the brother of Larry,
Yeah.
right? I really
The
like his
Sodomite.
performance in this one, right? But number 1 is Larry. That's Michael Stuhlbarg. Absolutely fantastic in this movie. He is fantastic. Such a great cast, but this movie's got style. And it's, of course, got structure. So let's talk about the style and structure. I think it is masterfully shot. It's the same cinematographer they'd been using pretty much throughout their entire careers. He wasn't around for Burn After Reading. I think it was like Burn After Reading, then No Country, and then this. Something like that. I could be misremembering. But the recreation of 1967 Minnesota suburbia is flawless, and they paid a lot of attention to the detail there. It's got chaotic editing and a lot of parallel scenes, in particular between father and son, where like you see like the son leaning back, the father laying down at the doctor, all that kind of stuff. It adds to the intensity of Larry's story as you get through the film. It's a gorgeous film, and it's got great like perspectives and angles to it and great pacing. As far as structure, I know it seems disjointed, seems like a bunch of vignettes, right? But it's weaving together a very complex story about the search for meaning, right? That's what it is. It's a complex story with a lot of nuance and resonance, but it feels like it's disjointed. But I think it has a great pace, and it's got perfectly timed jokes. I mentioned that it's very funny, but at the same time, very tragic, right? And I think it maintains a perfect balance of the absurdity of the comedy and the drama of the tragedy, right? And I think it goes against every single theory and expected idea of what narrative structure is. And this is the kind of movie you get to make after you win Best Picture, right? And we need more movies like this.
Yeah.
You know, like this is how you follow up a Best Picture. So I love the style. I love the structure. I think it's damn near perfect. And definitely look at I don't know how many movies we've covered here on PCP Movie Night, but it's a lot. It's hundreds of movies that we've covered, right? With millions of views, right? So we have never talked about a movie like this. Like there's no other movie I can compare this to. Not even another Coen Brothers movie. And I think that is exceptional. What do you think about style and structure, Jelani?
Like I said before, it's on the nose with a lot of things. It is the movie of the search for meaning. What does this mean? Why is this happening to me? What do I need to react to? Larry is going through so much stuff all at once. And it's like it's a perfect storm. It's like he was set up to do this, or it was supposed to happen to him. And I love how it makes it feel chaotic. It's very, like, looking at Larry's perspective, he is going through some mess. Like, if my wife came up to me and told me, I'm leaving you for Cy and Cy Abelman, and we're going to get a kid. That's the
and
first
everybody
thought.
Goes, Cy Abelman?
Cy Abelman?
Lucille's practically fucking warm in the grave or some shit like that. Right?
Like, it's been 3 years. You're like, what?
He's got to pay for this man's funeral, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
he doing some awful stuff. I'm like, nope. And he got to leave his own house when she won't live in with him. He got to.
What's the name of that fucking motel?
The Jolly Roger.
Oh, the Jolly Roger.
Jolly Roger.
It's so
right
funny,
like,
man.
No.
This dude is experiencing a Job-like epic loss of everything in his life, a dismantling and deconstruction of his life. And it's so fucking funny.
Yeah. And it's like it is funny. Like, it's just unfortunate thing. It's shot that way.
He's like a Woody Allen-esque type character, isn't he?
He is.
Yeah.
Where the world is just shitting on him, and he just cannot take it. And he takes it with reserve. He doesn't explode. He does cry because he doesn't know what else to do. And like, I love the lawyer scene. I keep forgetting to go back to the lawyer scene. It's my favorite scene in the movie.
You talking about Alan Arkin, aka Faux George Clooney?
Yes, Faux George Clooney from Halloween H2O. Yes. He is in, it's him and the other guy, the big guy who comes in, who's supposed to be the answer to all of his legal problems, and he comes in and drops dead. I was like, even then, I was like, yeah. What's one more thing? Oh, there is one more
and
thing.
it never stops all the way to the end, man.
Oh man, and I'm like, this movie is a succession of gorgeous.
Dude, Lemony Snicket ain't got shit on this movie.
Nothing.
You know what I'm saying?
So it feels that way. It's tense, it's chaotic, it's funny, it's witty, it's paced. It is a little longer. I mean, you could do 1-2 less misfortunes, and I'd be okay with it. But I understand.
Judd Apatow made this movie, it'd be 2.5 hours long, bro. This movie's an hour and 50, man. It's pretty. I think it's pretty lean. Right. That's just me. I'm sorry.
It's fine. I'm not complaining about everything with the runtime of it. I'm just saying it could be. You could miss one thing, and I'd be all right. You could miss the bar mitzvah because the bar mitzvah is hilarious.
Well, and that's like kind of the culmination, right?
Yeah. All of the rabbi scenes you keep. I think, I don't know. I'd hate to say this. I think the one where he gets high with the lady is a little off. I don't know what that is.
Where at the park or some shit, right?
Yeah. So, and just little things like that. But it's not terrible. That's what I'm saying. Like now that I've gone through some Job-like shit as well, or we all have in some form or fashion. But the fact that all these things are culminating and it shows it on film, and I appreciate it now because I've gone through those things. So 2019 or 2009, I was barely a kid, man. I was in my 20s. I did not care, and that's probably why I didn't appreciate this movie more so than I do now, because of the way it is that you see everything. The way it's just the Coen Brothers tell it in such a way where it's understandable. It's in little bites, but then you get the big picture of it that it's all meaningless.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. I love it.
And everything's relatable, right?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. What about you, Brooks? What do you think about the style and structure of A Serious Man from the Coen Brothers?
It is definitely a Coen Brothers movie. Like it does have that. It has that signature, but it's also very different from a lot of their movies as well. You know, it's much more random. It's like, I think it's the most like, you know, I guess not down to earth, but you know, it's kind of, you know, it's a movie, one of those movies that holds up a lens to like, you know, American culture, you know, especially like back in the day, like, you know, of probably how they remembered from their childhood, like, you know, and like it's kind of like, you know, there's a lot of things different, but there's a lot of things that are the same, you know, like a lot of the things in this, like I could have seen myself, like, you know, in that situation. So it's like a universal thing. But like this movie does have some really funny parts to it. But it's like it's so mixed in with like the very like the tragic parts that a lot of times like I'm kind of like, man, like I want to laugh, but like, you know, I'm still kind of depressed about what happened like a few scenes ago. But like the one scene that really got to me, scene that really made me laugh was when he's going to see like the head rabbi guy. Like, you know, he's like, he really needs to see him. He really needs to talk to him. And it felt like finally the woman goes back and opens the door and he's like, sees him sitting behind his desk. She's like, he's busy. He's like, he doesn't look busy.
Yeah.
It's like that idea, like this dude who's like supposed to be there to help you. But when you need help, he's just like, I don't feel like dealing with it. He just fucking like gives you the fucking brush off like to your face. That just cracked me up. But yeah, I mean, it is very Coen Brothers, I guess.
All the shit with the student that's trying to bribe him too is fucking hilarious to me.
Yes. I love when he sees him like, you a bastard, when he's riding his bicycle.
And he says something like, God damn it. He thinks he can't understand what he's saying, but he's saying like, I can't remember what he's saying, but there's this bit that it's just super funny.
He's like, repeat yourself.
And he's like, and he says, he's like, I don't remember what it was, but it's a lot of S. It's like so sussing or something like that. And it's like, it just cracks me the fuck up. And like when the dad shows up, and yes. I mean, I don't want to give him too much credit. But sometimes when you're watching a Coen Brothers movie like this, or an esoteric type, obscure-ish movie like this, every character may be telling you the theme. And I think that student's father tells us part of the theme when he goes, just accept the mystery.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
It
When he's like,
just take the money.
Just take the money. Like, just accept the mystery. No, I didn't give you the money. He didn't leave it there. We don't know anything about the money.
We don't know anything.
Just accept the mystery. Like, and what's the quote at the beginning of the movie? Right? From like a rabbi. It's like a famous quote. It's like a real quote where it's like, accept everything in life with simplicity, whatever life throws at you or something like that. Right? Mm-hmm. That ties into, but let's talk about the music. The music is done by Carter Burwell, who did pretty much almost everything that they did, right? I think he wasn't doing Oh Brother, but Oh Brother was, I think, soundtrack driven. But the music in this movie, wow. And there is a score, right? Because I know that we just focus on the Jefferson Airplane, which is very important to this movie, but the score is haunting and melancholy. It's epic, but tragically epic. But there's a lot of Jefferson Airplane in here as well. And I think that Somebody to Love is like core to the meaning of this film. And that's why it's utilized. And there's a part of the score where Carter like does his melancholy kind of slow thing. It's got like these harps, bum, bum, and these swelling, sad minor chords. It feels like Miller's Crossing almost, but Miller's Crossing, same composer, but he has this like old school gangster vibe to it, this vintage vibe. Here, it's just this sad, like as if this was like a play, like a tragic play. It reminds me of the music from House of Yes, right? Starring my personal friend Rachel Lee Cook. The music has this point where he's doing that, and he starts adding them in this like percussion. And it gets faster, and you hear this jing. And then you hear guitar, and it comes in, and it's the perfect lead in to Don't You Want Somebody to Love? It is magnificent. Check it out. It's on Spotify. Look at the Serious Man score soundtrack and find where Somebody to Love is. Listen to the track right before it, leading into that. It's damn near perfect. I love it. The music is so important to this movie. That song in particular, and there's other Jefferson Airplane songs here. No Jefferson Starship songs, but that's for the better. What about you, Jelani? What do you think about the music? Should we tell him?
He's got to be doing it on purpose.
And in this world filled out of lovers, we'll still have each other. Nothing's gonna stop us. Oh, I thought you said Jefferson Starship. Sorry.
No, it's the airplane in here, not the Starship, bro. That was later.
I was loving it, and I was muted on purpose. I was doing a bit, but it didn't work because you guys. Anyway, music was great. Yeah, everything you said was right. I mean, it kind of sounded repetitive for a minute because it's good, but it's throughout the movie, and I'm like, it for me, it didn't change up too much. But the Jefferson Airplane, perfect. That song is great. It plays the way you said it very well.
It's in it's in the beginning, the middle, and the end.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it's like telling that story, and it's oh man, it's great because the music in the background is the most haunting music for a movie like this. Like you could put this in No Country for Old Men, and you'd be like, I get it, but you're laughing, at the absurdity of what's happening to Larry at the same time. And this music is a great accent to it. It's just, it's good. I decently enjoyed the score.
Hell yeah.
Like I said, it's on the rewatch. It's grown on me.
Fuck yeah. What about you, Brooks? What are you thinking about the music?
I thought the score was all right, but it is I think it's kind of overshadowed by the Jefferson Airplane song, because like that song is like so, I guess, kind of important to the the whole theme of the movie, that it kind of becomes like what you associate the movie with when you think about the music in it. But it's a solid a good solid score. Like I thought it was very appropriate
Hell
and
yeah.
did its job.
All right, now it's time to start talking about what this movie is saying. What's its themes? I think this movie is rich with themes. There's a lot of stuff there to pick out from it. So, Jelani, kick us off. What's this movie speaking to you?
There is no purpose for what we do. We just need to do what we do well. I think it's one of these things where this stuff's going to happen to you. It happens to everyone on the planet. Something stupid is going to happen that's going to fall into something else. And you think your life is perfect and you think you have everything together and you have nothing. And I love that scene with Larry's uncle at the pool where he's like, you have everything. You've got a wife, you've got a car, you've got a house, you've got a job. I have nothing but my math. And he's like, and they're trying to take that away, my cards, and they try to take that from me. And I was like, damn, like it's on both ends. It's not just one, just one person going through some shit, and it's the story of the movie, pretty much. The son is a forgetful son, but at the same time, he's going to get beat up by this kid if he doesn't get his $20 for that pot he bought. So he's constantly running, constantly trying to get away. I mean, and there's so many just classic things. Even the rabbis have their things that they go through, but they're trying to teach. But they think they're teaching the right thing, but it meant nothing. It really, I mean, other than Marshak.
It's all just parables, man.
It's just parables and whatever, but it has no real purpose. There's no real, just like the movie ends abruptly. It ends abruptly with all of these loose threads out in the air. Is he going to die of cancer or whatever his x-rays showed? Is the tornado going to kill them at the school? There's so many just open things. Like, is Sia Dybbuk? All these little things, man.
Fuck yeah, dude. I think that's the first use of that word on the channel too.
Yeah. Well, a paranormal lich that just comes back to life and does what it does. But yeah, I think it's about nothing. It's like Seinfeld. It's a big Seinfeld movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel that.
And it actually, as long as you can move with purpose, it should be just one more thing to deal with.
Fuck yeah. All right, Brooks, what about you? What's this movie speaking to you?
Well, you made it like, I guess one of the obvious comparisons, like for this movie, like, you told it, I remember you telling me it was the book of Job. And like, that's this idea of like, somebody who does everything right, but still everything goes wrong for him. And like, I actually reread the book, like Job, like a couple of years back. And like, I hated that book. It's like, that was so dumb. It's like, it's just this dude, God fucks him over. And his friends just tell him, oh, it must be, you're not pleasing God enough. You're not doing God good enough. And like, I found it to be such a strange story in the Bible. Cause it's like, like the whole thing is like, you can do everything right and God will still just fuck you over for no fucking reason. Like God will just, like, it doesn't matter. Like
it's all over a bet, bro. Right?
Yeah.
Like he makes a bet with Lucifer or some shit, right? Yeah. Like it's crazy.
Well, it's Satan, which is like, I guess one of God's servants who's meant to like walk the earth and like report back to him. He was kind of like the basis for what we consider Satan. But basically, he's like, he was an angel who God sent to the earth to like, report on shit and like come back to him and tell him, and like, and all he did was say like, Job only like, was so good because, you give him all the shit. Like, God didn't have to fucking do that to him. God's just kind of an asshole. It kind of seems like, sometimes it's like,
it's kind of like God is 100% an asshole.
It's like the whole tale of Jonah is like you can't run away from God. When he tells you to do something, he'll make you fucking do it no matter what. And like, even if you do everything God wants you to do, he might still fuck you over just cause, just cause like, oh, I need to test this guy. I don't know if he's real fucking, just maybe if I just take away all this stuff. But yeah, like that's what this movie is like. It's like what is the point of, blaming, or even like, even blaming God for like all the bad things that happen to you? Because like, it may make like it doesn't even make you feel better, really. It's just like, it's just,
It's
bad
cope.
things just happen,
Yeah.
and sometimes they happen like in succession, and you just got to roll with it. And that's kind of, I think that's what the main character does really well. Is like, he doesn't, you can tell he's kind of losing his temper a little bit, but he never really he never just like, spirals.
Snaps.
He always
Yeah.
manages to like, keep himself afloat. So like, I think that's admirable. Like, that's how people should like, you have to learn to deal with these kind of things, and not like lose your shit, even though, it seems like God is giving you the old fuck over for no reason.
Yeah. I think both of you hit right on part of the head of the nail that is this movie, right? And hopefully we can tie this all together. This is a movie about the search for meaning. This is a movie about how pointless the search for meaning is. That second rabbi, his whole story. Everybody's telling him profound shit. The first rabbi, who's super young and just talking about the fucking parking lot, what does he tell him? You need new perspective. You hear that all the time, but it's actually kind of true. Like when you're stuck in a rut, everything's going wrong. Sometimes you need new perspective. But that second story that the second rabbi tells, right? About the Goya's teeth and all that shit, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, so what's the meaning? Why'd you tell me the fucking story, right? And he's just like, what do you mean? But he says something there that's very profound. He goes, message from God? I don't know. Blah, blah, blah. I don't know. Helping out your fellow human couldn't hurt. Right? So think about that. Larry, so many times throughout this film, says, I didn't do anything. Why is this happening to me? I didn't do anything. He's living the life that he thinks he's supposed to live. He's got his kids in Hebrew school. He goes to synagogue every Sabbath. He observes all the holidays. He's got the job. He's teaching his students. He's trying to do the right thing. So why is this happening to me? Mm-hmm. Everything that happens to Larry in this movie and why it keeps happening over and over and over again is because of Larry's inaction. Larry makes a big point. Actions have consequences. In this office, actions have consequences. Inaction has consequences too. His wife tells him, don't be surprised, Larry. You knew this was coming, but we didn't do anything. Yes, you're right. I didn't do anything. You didn't. He didn't do anything to save his marriage.
Nope.
He didn't do anything when he had to pay for his wife's new lover's funeral. He didn't do anything when this dude encroached on his personal fucking space. He didn't do anything to earn any extra effort into getting tenure. Have you published anything? No, I didn't do anything. Larry's a dude who feels like if I follow these rules, and this is the lie that's perpetrated on a lot of American society, follow these rules, get the wife, the kids, the house, the car, get the job, you're going to be okay. We'll take care of you. It's the same lie Stan Lee told Jack Kirby. You do your job, we'll take care of you. You know what I'm saying? You do your job, we'll take care of you. You fill your role, we'll take care of you. But that's not what happens because life happens. So he questions God. What's the meaning of this? Why is it happening to me? It's happening to him because he's not doing anything to stop it. Some things will happen. They're called acts of God's, right? When your lawyer that's going to save everything drops dead, when you get the bad news right after, here's another thing. Right after he does the right thing, he breaks his code and changes the kid's grade. And it's a great moment where he thinks about it and adds the minus to the C. Then he gets the call. Is that God's call? No, it's just what happens.
Life.
Sometimes things happen because they happen. How do we respond? Everything that happens to Larry in this movie and to his son, and his son's bully represents this. We never see the bully's face till the very, very end. Right? This dude is always there's a parallel between Larry and his son. His son is running away from his problem, right? So is Larry. Everything that happens to Larry, he doesn't do anything about it. He's right. He didn't do anything. So why is this happening to me? He's answered it. It's happening to him because he didn't do anything. He just let it happen. So if I check this box, this box, this box, I'll have a happy life. No, you got to do something. You got a partnership, you got a marriage, you got to make that work. You got to do something to make that work. You got a job, you want to succeed in it, you want to get tenure, you want to elevate, you want to climb up the ladder, you want to do better at it. You got to do it. You can't just like, well, I'm here, I'm doing the thing, right? But it's also about the uncertainty of everything. That's why he's so fixated with the Schrodinger's cat and the uncertainty principle and all that kind of stuff, right? Mm-hmm. But it ultimately all comes down to one thing. And I've said this so many times. This is my number one philosophy in life. Life, existence, the cosmos, it is chaos. Ultimately, it is meaningless. A tornado tearing through our town, taking our lives. There's no reason for that. It just fucking happens, right?
Very true. In
a life, and this to me is the misunderstood point of nihilism. And this is a nihilistic film, I think. I think this movie's answering there is no God, right? But at the same time, it's saying there is a God.
We believe in nothing, Lebowski.
Exactly. I mean, think about how much the fucking Coen Brothers play with these and all different facets, all different sides of it, right? Mm-hmm. So if life is meaningless, what does that mean? That means we make the meaning of our lives. Mm-hmm. How do we find meaning in life? You know, one of the things I do to find meaning in life, hanging out with you two here on PCP Movie Night, because I love you. Don't you want somebody to love? When the truth is found to be lies and all the joy and hope inside has died, don't you want somebody to love? Don't you need somebody to love? Wouldn't you like somebody to love? You better find somebody to love. Help your fellow man? Couldn't hurt. You need new perspective, Larry. Maybe that's what it is. It all happens to us because we question why. We don't do anything about it. But what should we do? How about fill our life with love? That's what this movie's about to me. Does that make sense?
It's all right.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's where I feel. So it's time to rate the film. So you out there in the chat, if you watched the sequel, you digs, what do you rate this film? Jelani, kick us off here on the panel.
Originally, I gave this 2 in my head because this is the first time I watched it. The first time I watched it, I hated it. It was just way too much going on, and it ends abruptly, and none of it's resolved. It made no sense, and I'm angry about it. Now on the rewatch, like I said before, it's changed me. It's softened my heart because it is just one of those films that it deserved a nomination for an Academy Award because it is chaotic, perplexing as it is funny, and it made no sense, but it lasted made a lot of sense. So I'll give it a 4. This is a 4 movie for me. I'll keep with that. I'm good.
All right, that's actually from a 2 to a 4. That's pretty dope. One thing I wanted to say here, though, at the end of Job, God finally responds to Job. He does so through a what? A whirlwind. The kid is a parallel to his father, as his father's getting the bad news, and the kid sees what? A tornado, which is a whirlwind. And what's the voice of God saying? Saying it's somebody to love. It's somebody to love. It's the song. It's the song that's playing. Yeah.
Somebody to love.
Yeah. Anyway, whatever.
Does he need somebody to love?
Everybody does.
He want somebody else?
Yeah. 4 you digs from Jelani. What about you, Brooks? What are you thinking?
Yeah, like initially I was thinking I was probably going to give it a 3.5, but like talking about it and just kind of going over with the guys. I think a 4. I'd give it a 4 as well. Like it is like it's a movie I think I could appreciate more on rewatches. Like maybe if I watch it again like later on down the line, I might appreciate it more. But I did like it, and I do think it's a good movie. Just it kind of hit me weird a little bit, and it is a bit of a head scratcher, but
It does that.
It's a Coen Brothers movie.
You're gonna think differently next time you watch it. I guarantee it, Brooks.
You will.
Probably.
Promise me. I did.
Yeah, it happened to Delaney. It happens to me. Like I love this film more and more. It's like
I forgot about this movie on purpose for years.
Not to compare the Coen Brothers to Tarantino, two very different filmmaker styles, right? But like this to me is like Quentin Tarantino's Inglourious Bastards, where like the more I watch it, I love it more and more. And I think like in a filmmaker's filmography, to have a movie just keep like you start it down here and it just keeps fucking coming up to the top, right? Like that's one of these things for me. So that's why I'm going to give this movie 5. 5 you digs. I think this movie's damn near perfect, but I've seen it multiple times. I've seen it at least 5 times, right? This may have been my 5th time watching it. And I'm obsessed with this film. I love this movie. I was glad to upgrade recently my DVD to this Blu-ray. I gave my DVD to Brooks, so I hope that Brooks dives back into this. So I give it a perfect score because I think it's challenging. I think it's nuanced. I think it doesn't explain what it is, but it is a lot of things. It's playing on all facets and angles of its themes, and it's very profoundly resonant to me and actually really speaks more truthfully about the human experience than most films do of its time, and especially today. Two Gun gives it 3.5 you digs. Easy Dick Eric was going to be here tonight, but he's not feeling well. He's under the weather. He sent me his notes though, so I want to read those out real quick. I should have had them pulled up, but I didn't. What's up? Don't y'all want somebody to love? All right, here we go. So wait on my phone. All right, here we go. So Eric says, overall, an interesting movie, but flawed. Favorite character was the Dybbuk, since he's essentially the Schrodinger's cat personified. Close second is Rabbi number 2. Love the repeating motif, such as the scenes of him opening the front door, as well as going to his office day after day. You have Jefferson Airplane. The music is good. Theme is the uncertainty of life. Like the song says, when the truth is found to be lies and all the joy within you dies. 3.5 out of 5. All right. He says he's kind of pissed off that he's sick because he really wanted to be here to talk about the movie. So that's a PCP average of 4.333333333 because we're not counting Eric because he wasn't here. 3.33369. And y'all check my math. 4,
We don't do math.
4, 5, 4.33 line across till you get to a 69. Anyway, thank you all so much for joining us for our presentation on A Serious Man. And speaking of serious men and serious films, next week we're going to be talking about Kung Pao Enter the Fist. What a great movie to wrap up the first 4 months of PCP movie night before we get into Crew's Choice. But we got Kung Pao Enter the Fist. My boy Clayton is going to be there. So I'm very, very excited. It's one of his favorite movies, a movie he actually introduced me to. And yeah, I think we're going to have a fun conversation next week here on PCP Movie Night for Kung Pao Enter the Fist. I'll look up where it's streaming while Jelani tells us what he's up to.
Hey guys. Well, Brooks and I do Go Figure reviews. Like, share, subscribe, the usual stuff. We did a video last week for Angel, the Marvel Legends Angel X-Men figure. It's awesome in my book. I really like. What do you think about it, Brooks?
I like it.
Yeah. We need to watch our review. We'll go in more depth like that. And of course, we also had the Big Buh Cobra Commander Trainer or Cobra Trainer from the G.I. Joe Classified series, basically Rocky Balboa as a Cobra fighter. The talks kind of like fell through to make him an actual character in G.I. Joe. So they just decided to make, hey, let's make this guy. And he's pretty cool in my book too. I really like him. Big guy. Check us out. Go Figure Reviews.
Big Boa was one of my favorite G.I. Joes I had when I was a kid because he had removable gloves, right?
Yeah.
And so, they wanted to make the Rocky figure, but they were going to make a villain boxer, right? To go along with him. And I love that in the new one, the classified Hasbro one, that he's got the alternate head where it looks like Rocky. It's so funny, man.
Yeah, it's great. It's like you got a space back in.
Get you, G.I. Joe. You think my apartment stinks, G.I. Joe?
Everybody go sign up and subscribe to Go Figure Reviews. Brooks, thank you for being here. Final thoughts?
Just a question, like, is Kung Pao, is that the movie where the dude fights a cow at some point?
Yes. He does fight a cow.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's available to rent on all the platforms, but not streaming on any of them.
Of course.
Of course not.
At least it's available, though. I'm like,
well, don't worry. I don't have it either, so I'm going to have to pay the $3.99 or whatever, too. So it's a good movie, though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it'd be worth a rental.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it is.
All right. Thank you all so much. Do check out Go Figure Reviews. The Big Boa, very excited to check that out. Angel as well. Next week, though, Kung Pao, Enter the Fist, here on PCP Movie Night. For my final thoughts, I'm just going to say, station, pop, pop, boom. Thanks for watching along with us, and be a good boy.